You think the decisions you make every day, what you eat, what you watch, what you buy, who you spend time with, are your decisions. But what if they're not? What if there's something else pulling the strings, and you've been so well trained that you don't even notice it anymore? In 1938, Napoleon Hill sat down and wrote the most dangerous book of his career. A book so controversial that his own family locked it away for over 70 years. A book that wasn't published until 2011, decades after his death. Why? Because what he revealed in those pages was too raw, too uncomfortable, too real. He didn't write another success manual. He didn't give you 10 steps to wealth or 5 habits of millionaires. He did something far more disturbing. He exposed the invisible force that keeps most people trapped their entire lives, and he did it through an imaginary conversation with the devil himself. Yeah, you heard that right. And before you roll your eyes and think this is some religious metaphor, hold on, because whether you believe in the devil or not doesn't matter. What matters is this: the mechanisms Hill describes, the psychological traps, the patterns of self-sabotage. The way fear operates in your subconscious are devastatingly accurate. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. So here's my question for you. Are you actually living your life? Or are you just drifting? And if you don't know the answer to that question, that's exactly the problem. Let's talk about it. Drifting, the silent epidemic. Hill uses one word to describe the state most people live in: drifting. And when I first read that, I thought I understood it. Oh, it's like not having goals. It's being lazy. It's procrastination. Wrong. Drifting is so much worse than that. Drifting is when you go through life on autopilot, when you react instead of create, when you follow the path of least resistance, not because you chose it, but because you never questioned it. You wake up, check your phone, scroll, get dressed, go to work, come home, watch something, scroll again, sleep, repeat. And here's the terrifying part: drifting feels normal. It doesn't feel like failure. It doesn't feel like a crisis. It just feels like life. You tell yourself you're fine. You're doing okay. You're not homeless. You're not broke. You've got a roof over your head, food on the table. But deep down, there's this quiet voice that whispers, "Is this it?" And you silence it. You silence it with distractions, with Netflix, with social media, with alcohol, with busyness, with anything that keeps you from sitting alone with that question. Because if you actually stopped and asked yourself, am I living with purpose or just surviving? The answer might destroy you. And that's exactly what the devil wants, according to Hill. In the book, the devil says, and I'm paraphrasing here, that he doesn't need to throw you into some fiery pit. He doesn't need to tempt you with obvious evil. All he has to do is keep you drifting, keep you distracted, keep you comfortable enough not to rebel, keep you confused enough not to find clarity, and you'll imprison yourself. You'll build your own cage and never even realize you're in it. Now, think about your life right now. How many of your daily actions are intentional? How many are just habits you picked up from your parents, your friends, your culture, your algorithm? When was the last time you made a real decision, not a reaction? Not a decision about what you actually want? If you can't answer that, you're drifting. And the scariest part, most people drift their entire lives and never wake up. They die at 25 and get buried at 75. The 6 ghosts of fear. Now let's go deeper. Because drifting isn't just laziness. It's not just lack of ambition. It's fear. Hill breaks down 6 major fears that control human behavior. And when I read this section, I felt personally attacked because I saw myself in every single one. Here they are. 1. The fear of poverty. Not just being broke, but the fear of not having enough, of losing what you have, of being judged for not earning enough, of not being able to afford the life you think you're supposed to live. This fear makes people stay in jobs they hate. It makes them play it safe. It makes them worship money while secretly resenting it. 2. The fear of criticism. This is the big one. How many dreams have died because someone might laugh? How many ideas never left your head because you were scared of what people would say? You don't post that video. You don't start that business. You don't speak up in the meeting. You don't wear what you actually want to wear. Why? Because somewhere deep down, you're terrified of being judged. And here's the brutal truth. Most people would rather live a mediocre life that others approve of than an extraordinary life that makes people uncomfortable. 3. The fear of ill health, anxiety, hypochondria, constantly worrying about what could go wrong with your body. This one turns people into prisoners of their own minds. 4. The fear of loss of love, staying in relationships that drain you because you're afraid of being alone, changing who you are to be liked, Avoiding conflict even when you're being disrespected. This fear makes you abandon yourself to keep others around. 5. The fear of old age. The obsession with youth. The terror of irrelevance. The belief that your best years are behind you. This keeps people stuck in the past or paralyzed about the future. 6. The fear of death. The ultimate fear. The one that, consciously or unconsciously, makes people avoid living because they're so focused on not dying. Now here's the thing. You might read that list and think, I don't have those fears. But you do. Maybe not all of them. Maybe not all the time. But I guarantee you at least one of those fears is running your life right now. And you don't even see it. It's making your decisions for you. It's whispering in your ear. Don't risk it. Play it safe. What if you fail? What if they laugh? What will people think? And every time you listen to it, you drift a little further from who you actually are. The devil's favorite weapon. Your own mind hears where the book gets really uncomfortable. In Hill's conversation with the devil admits something shocking. He doesn't control you. You control you. He just suggests. He plants seeds of doubt. He amplifies your fears. He makes excuses sound reasonable, and you do the rest. You talk yourself out of your dreams. You justify your procrastination. You convince yourself that being realistic is the same thing as being smart. But let me ask you something. When did being realistic become code for giving up? When did playing it safe become more important than playing at all? The devil's greatest trick isn't making you believe he exists. It's making you believe that your limitations are real, that you are not smart enough, not talented enough, not young enough, not connected enough, that it's too late, that you missed your chance, that people like you don't get to do things like that. And the moment you believe it, he's got you, because now you're not just drifting. You're defending your right to drift. You're explaining why you can't, why it won't work, why you're different. And that's exactly where he wants you. Definiteness of purpose, the only way out. So how do you break free? Hill's answer is simple but brutal. Definiteness of purpose. You need to know exactly what you want. Not vaguely. Not, I want to be successful, I want to be happy. That's not a purpose. That's a wish. A definite purpose is specific, clear, non-negotiable. It's the thing you're willing to sacrifice for. The thing you think about when you wake up and before you sleep. The thing that makes you say no to distractions because you're too focused on the yes that actually matters. And here's the hard part. Most people don't have this. They have hobbies, interests, fantasies, but not a purpose. And without a purpose, you're just a leaf in the wind. You'll go wherever life pushes you. You'll take whatever job pays the bills. You'll follow whatever trend is popular. You'll become whoever the people around you expect you to be. And one day, you'll wake up and realize you spent your entire life living someone else's dream. So let me ask you right now, what do you actually want? Not what your parents want, not what society says you should want, not what looks good on Instagram. What do you want? And if you don't know, that's your first problem, because you can't hit a target you can't see. Independent thinking, the rebellion nobody talks about. Here's something Hill says that hit me like a truck. The majority is always wrong. Not sometimes, not occasionally, always, because the majority is drifting. The majority is following trends, repeating opinions they heard on TV, doing what everyone else is doing because it feels safe. And if you want to be free, if you want to actually live, you have to be willing to think for yourself. Not just in the big things, in everything. Question your beliefs, question your habits, question the advice people give you. Ask yourself, is this true? Or is this just what I was taught? Is this what I want? Or is this what I think I'm supposed to want? Am I doing this because it serves me? Or because I'm afraid of what happens if I don't? Independent thinking is an act of rebellion. And most people are too scared to rebel. They'd rather fit in, rather be liked, rather avoid conflict. But here's the truth. Every person who ever did anything meaningful was called crazy first. Every innovator, every artist, every leader. They were misunderstood, criticized, doubted, and they did it anyway, because they had something the majority doesn't have: the courage to be wrong in public, the courage to stand alone, the courage to define success on their own terms. And that's what the devil fears most. Not your strength, not your intelligence, your independence. Because the moment you start thinking for yourself, you are no longer controllable. Discipline, the unsexy truth. Let's talk about something nobody wants to hear. Freedom requires discipline. I know, it sounds like a contradiction, but it's not. Because without discipline, you're a slave to your impulses. You eat whatever you crave. You watch whatever numbs you. You sleep whenever you're tired. You avoid whatever's uncomfortable. And you call that freedom. but that's not freedom. That's just being controlled by a different master, your lower self. Real freedom is when you can choose discomfort because you know it leads somewhere better, when you can delay gratification, when you can say no to the easy thing because you're committed to the meaningful thing. Hill talks about this in the book, how the devil loves lack of self-discipline, because undisciplined people are predictable. They'll quit when it gets hard. They'll give up when they're criticized. They'll choose comfort over growth every single time, and they'll justify it. I deserve to relax. Life's too short. I'll start tomorrow. Sound familiar? Look, I'm not saying you need to become some monk who never has fun, but I am saying, if you can't control yourself, someone else will. Your boss, your phone, your algorithm, your addictions. Discipline isn't about restriction. It's about direction. It's about deciding who you want to be and then aligning your actions with that vision, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. The trap of comfort here is one of the most dangerous lies we tell ourselves. I'll be happy when I'm comfortable, when I have enough money, when I find the right partner, when I get the promotion, when I lose the weight. Then I'll be happy, then I'll be free. But that day never comes, because comfort is a trap. The more comfortable you get, the more you have to lose. And the more you have to lose, the more afraid you become. You stop taking risks. You stop growing. You start protecting what you have instead of reaching for what you want. And that's when you start dying inside. Hill makes it clear. The devil doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to make you comfortable enough to stop fighting, comfortable enough to stop questioning, comfortable enough to accept things as they are. And that's how he wins. So if you're sitting there right now thinking, my life isn't that bad, be very, very careful. Because not that bad is exactly where dreams go to die. Self-sabotage disguised as realism. Let's get personal for a second. How many times have you had an idea, something that genuinely excited you, and then immediately talked yourself out of it? That's not realistic. I don't have the experience. Someone's probably already doing it. What if I fail? You tell yourself you're being smart, practical, mature, but you're not. You're just scared. And instead of admitting you're scared, you dress it up as wisdom. You call it being realistic when it's really just being afraid. You call it waiting for the right time when it's really just avoiding discomfort. You call it protecting yourself when it's really just giving up before you even try. And the worst part, you're so convincing that you actually believe yourself. Hill calls this out directly in the book. The devil doesn't need to stop you. You'll stop yourself. You'll create every excuse, build every defense, rationalize every retreat. And you'll do it so well that you'll never even realize you were your own worst enemy. The most dangerous question here is the question that should terrify you. What if you're already living the life the devil wanted for you? What if the comfort, the routine, the distractions, the fears, what if that's exactly the prison Hill was warning about? What if you've been so well trained to accept limitation that you don't even see the bars anymore? Think about it. You've got a phone that tracks your every move, algorithms that know what you'll click before you do, a job that takes most of your waking hours, bed that keeps you running in place, and just enough entertainment to keep you from asking, is this all there is? And you call that normal. But what if normal is just another word for control? What if the life you think you chose was actually chosen for you by your parents' expectations, by societal pressure, by fear of judgment, by the need to fit in, and now here you are, not miserable enough to change, not fulfilled enough to be satisfied, just existing, drifting, the final confrontation. So what do? How do you break free? Hill's answer is both simple and terrifying. You have to make a decision, not tomorrow, not when you're ready, not when the conditions are perfect. Now, you have to decide that you're done drifting, done making excuses, done living on autopilot. You have to choose a definite purpose and commit to it like your life depends on it. Because it does. Not your physical life, maybe, but the life that actually matters. The one where you look in the mirror and recognize the person staring back. You have to face your fears instead of running from them. You have to discipline yourself instead of indulging every impulse. You have to think independently instead of parroting what's popular. You have to become comfortable being uncomfortable. And most of all, you have to stop waiting for permission from your parents, your friends, your boss, society. No one's coming to save you. No one's going to hand you purpose. No one's going to give you permission to live. You have to take it. Here's what Napoleon Hill understood that most people never will. The battle for your life isn't happening out there. It's happening in here, in your mind, in your habits, in your daily choices, and every single day. You're either moving toward freedom or drifting toward control. There's no neutral. So let me leave you with this. If you died today, would you be proud of the life you live? Or would you realize you spent it preparing to live and never actually did? That's the question Hill forces you to confront. And it's the question the devil hopes you never answer. So answer it right now. Are you living or just existing? And if it's the latter, what are you going to do about it? Because here's the truth nobody wants to hear. You already know what you need to do. You've known for a while. You're just scared to do it. But that fear, that hesitation, that voice telling you to wait, that's not wisdom. That's the devil. And the moment you recognize that, everything changes. So go, wake up, stop drifting, and become who you are actually meant to be. The clock's ticking. What are you waiting for?